All right, I'll call the meeting to order, and it is 4:04 p.m. And if we could list the attendance, please, or the roll call.
Robert Tucker.
Here.
Dennis Barnum. Ignacio Alegre. Cheryl Alexander. Sandy Anino.
Present.
Anthony Sandoval. Ana Jimenez Hammy.
Here.
Jackie Razo Garcia.
Here.
And Jorge Martinez.
Here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we can do the Pledge of Allegiance if we all look at Sandy's image and there's a flag. So, Sandy, would you like to start us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag
United
Of the
States,
United States of America.
America.
and to
to
the
the
republic
To the republic
for which
which
it
is
stands, one nation under God,
nation
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty.
with
Justice
justice just for all.
All right, thank you. Public comments. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on non-agenda items. There will be opportunities later on to talk on any agenda items. Are there any public comments at this time?
No, none.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Let's go on to the minutes. Can we approve the minutes of, I believe it's October 14th, 2021. Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I approve.
Is there a second?
Thank you, Dr. Anna.
I'll second the minutes. Is there any comment on the minutes before we vote to approve them? Not hearing any. All those in favor of the minutes of October 14th, 2021, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, minutes are approved. Excused absences. Bianca, are there any excused absences?
Yes, the ones I mentioned, and actually they're part of the consent calendar. Cheryl informed me that she was gonna be out. Dennis and Anthony. He and I believe there was one more person. No, I think that's it.
Okay, although I didn't do the consent calendar as a group, is there a motion to approve the excused absences? So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the excused absences, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, there's no specific business at this time. Anything business that's come up, Sandy or Deborah, that we need to discuss, or just go into reports?
I don't have anything that I'll report what I need to during my
Bring your report.
report out for YSPN and then during staff reports.
Okay, well, let's go into reports and let's jump right into the YSPN. Sandy?
Awesome, thank you. I am gonna share my screen. Well, actually, I first wanted to talk about a couple of things before I jump into my YSPN report. We actually had or just wrapped up our UCWA Youth Conference, which was really good. There were some areas where I was like, oh, this could have been a lot better, but for the most part, it was really good. They did have a lot of non-stressing items that they incorporated into the training as far as music and meditation and self-reflection. I think they were incorporating a lot of the stress that came with COVID, and they were trying to address that with some of the youth that were in attendance too. So that was kind of nice to have. I think normally we don't have it, so we were able to hear that at the entry of every day. It was Tuesday, Wednesday, and today was the last day. With I think today being the most innovative and intriguing of all days, they did touch on a few different items that I kind of wanted to share with you. They did talk about the workforce and what we're looking at now that COVID has come into our lives and that we're still dealing with. I think the workforce has been highly impacted, which I think I don't need to tell many of you guys that have all experienced it and are still experiencing it actually. But some of the key things that they mentioned, that it's changed the mindset of our workforce as far as what they're willing to do, what they're not willing to do. The fact that there are so many jobs out there and they're still not being taken up by a lot of people that are unemployed is a huge issue, and also consideration to look at what the workforce is actually wanting. They did mention, and they showed a clip, which I actually sent to Deborah, and I'll be happy to share with the group after the meeting. But they mentioned that it is an employee environment, not necessarily an employer environment, whereas before it was like, well, you're lucky to kind of have a job. Now the mentality of a lot of the employees are, you're lucky to have me, which is interesting. So they did also touch on that, although that is the mindset. I think our job as youth providers and workforce individuals is to make sure to also align that with what employers are looking for. Although it is okay for them to have a mindset of, you're lucky to have me, what are you willing to offer, and are you worthy also of the position? So there was a lot of going back and forth on that, which I found very interesting. But to see, we are looking at a different workforce. We're looking at different jobs and different job opportunities. There's a lot more virtual jobs even that they're seeing out there as far as data collection, virtual receptionists, virtual administrative assistants, where people are outsourcing as opposed to having your administrative assistant outside of your office saying, can you do a memo for me, etc. It's a virtual one that you send tasks to, and they're your virtual administrative assistant all over the world, from Florida to different countries, which I found mind-blowing. But that's the world we're living in. And I think that's something that we need to actually think about when we're looking at our programs and our services. So there was quite a few items that did capture my attention that I had a couple of aha moments with that I'll share with you as far as the clips. But I thought it was very good. Hopefully some of our youth providers, I'll turn it around just a few minutes, and maybe the youth providers can actually touch on what they thought of the conference. I believe all of them also were in attendance, so maybe they can report out during their actual report out. The other item I wanted to discuss was, actually, no, let me go ahead and jump into my enrollments. I did want to look at our enrollments only because, are you guys able to see that?
No.
Let me see. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So just want to give you an idea. I'm sorry, did somebody say something? Okay. I wanted to give you an idea where we're at as far as our enrollments. I am looking to provide you reports as far as our performance. And the only reason why I want to give more concrete reports out, I know that our providers will be giving out their report outs also with their numbers for last year and this current year. I wanted to share with you as far as how we're doing as a network to give you an idea of where we need improvements. So this meeting, I'm going to focus more so on enrollment. Our next meeting, I will focus on performance as far as what we're looking at with regards to our entered employment, our credentialing, our MSG, and a few of those other items. I know it's been a while since we've really delved deep into some of these performances that I want to touch on. So I will give you some brief overview on that at our next meeting. But just to kind of see where we're at as far as our enrollments, these are enrollments for 2021, which is current. As far as where we're at, we're currently at 85% of our enrollment. Most of the providers should have finished their enrollments by now to give the youth enough time to provide their services, which is the other thing I think we need to look at as the system or as the network is, do we really want yearly contracts with our providers moving forward? Is 1 year enough time to provide the services that we need to have youth successfully exit the program? This is for our current year. And then our numbers for last year, we didn't quite meet it either. We were at 96% of our enrollment. So I think that's something for us to think about as far as how we're providing services. And I'll definitely leave it up to the providers to expand more on that as they're doing their report out. And definitely, if you guys have any questions, feel free to chime in. But that's kind of where we're at with our enrollment. I think we have struggled in not only this year, but last year with regards to our enrollments. And so I am working with the providers to inform them of meeting their enrollments and how they're doing their outreach so that they're able to get the full extent of their funding and not have to give any money back at the end of their contract year. So as far as my wife's plan, I think that's it. I will, the other thing I did want to touch on is I will be monitoring all of the work sites, all of the programs in April. So just a heads up, we will be kind of busy with fiscal monitoring, EEO monitoring, and program monitoring that'll get set up for this upcoming April, which will also give us another opportunity to review where the providers are at and how they're doing before the contract year ends for this particular year. And then I'll touch on the RFP during my staff report out. Other than that, I'm done. Any questions?
Just one. I think Santa Ana Unified or some of the other school districts are looking at, there's a great need for truck drivers. Was there any discussion about getting truck drivers? I know that's obscure.
Training for truck drivers?
Yeah.
Well, that could be something we could definitely incorporate into our upcoming RFP, which I did want to touch on during my staff report.
Let's wait till then.
And seeing how moving forward, maybe we want to change what type of training and certification we want our youth to obtain.
Oh, okay.
And prioritize for our providers also. Yes, Deborah.
If a youth does want truck driving, they can come into our offices now and we can look at eligibility as an adult. So they are over 18 and they have the abilities to be either enrolled as a youth program or in our adult programs. So we'd be happy to send them over to Carlos's team to work with them. They are backed up. Our prison to employment grant has been registering many of the ex-offenders into truck driving training, as it is a felon-friendly industry. And I think Juan's been working with 3 truck driving schools. They are all at full capacity. They just don't have enough instructors and trucks to offer more classes. But it is going well. And for P2E, we are sending some clients to Arizona to go do their testing because they're able to get appointments quicker and sooner. And so we've allowed that under the prison to employment grant so that we could keep that expedited and on to placement.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
So if they are 18 and older, they can definitely co-enroll with our adult program. And we can connect them with that training and any other training available for them. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, let's go on to the report from the Orange County Children's Therapeutic Arts Center.
That's you.
Hi, how you guys doing? My name is Sandra. So I'm the new program coordinator and case manager for OCTEC. I think I already sent Yesenia, did you receive my report?
I did. Let me go ahead and share your report.
Perfect, thank you.
Mine and put up yours. I believe this one. Nope, that's not you. I have you guys all up, so I want to make sure I put up. Oh. Did everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the brief summary of the follow-ups. So we did have 17 enrolled, and then 4 of those were carried over for the following year. There are all, and this is the current barriers that we have. One of them is a foster youth, one of them with parent. We have dropouts for work habits and disabilities. In one of our highs, obviously, all of them are in basic skills level. They're deficient on that right now. For the ones that were there, the ones that were carried over, only one participant improved in the numeracy and literacy at this time. Let's see.
You want me to go down?
Yes, please. I was trying to do it. So from the current participants that we have right now, a lot of them are from the follow-ups are now enrolled in college. Some of them were from out of school. We have a Santa Ana one with a child development, and she believe got a certification as of January. And then we have one that is working with our wraparound program. She is an assistant. And a few of them already got employed. We have two in retail. One was a participant that started working at a bakery. And then for the rest of them were still are in school or continue to be in school. We also had one that joined Fullerton College, Cal State Fullerton. So that will be from the 17 that we had last year, including the ones that became follow-ups, which were 4. Now with our current year, that there I know it's really low. At this time we have not met our 20 of the required. So this time we do have 11. And I wanted to let you guys know the issue what we have with that. It was because there was a transition between myself and Arlene, who was the prior coordinator. So at that time, there was a lot of transitioning between getting a new coordinator until I became the coordinator and case manager. And then we had another case manager to the left. So there was a replacement there. So there was a lot of shifts going on. And it was pretty much trying for us to catch up and get the remaining participants. As of this time, we do have 5 that are joining us, hopefully at the end of this month. And we're still on the process of finishing up the applications and taking the test, but they're all qualified at this time. 2 of them happen to fall under the foster and homelessness barrier. So we are really glad that we are able to bring more of that. We have partnered up with more foster communities, for example, Orangewood. We're also joining Wainari's House, and we are joining with Wise Place. So all those places for foster youth and homeless in like the programs that they have living there. So we are hoping to get more. There's a lot of participants, possible participants. So that will bring us hopefully up to the next 4 that we get, so we can finally reach up our 20. So we're hoping to complete all by next month, if possible. I mean, we're shooting for this month, but if not, it will be the next month. But we are really excited to work with them. They seem to be excited with mainly the program stuff we offer. So you see the work experience placement. A lot of our youth currently, they're being placed either as office assistants. Some of them are in childcare programs, and a lot of them are involving the digital arts classes that we have. There seems to be a lot of more interest in that field, just because the way we're seeing how things are moving on right now, that like Sandy was mentioning earlier, that a lot of the jobs are going into the digital market or digital office. So they are getting that experience from us for the digital clerks classes, which a lot of them are online, and also the digital arts classes that we provide ourselves. But we are adding an additional class for graphic design, and a lot of the participants that we have in the 5 that are going to be enrolled, they are really interested in that. So we're hoping that those classes can become our biggest focus too, because they, like I said, like the field is changing a lot. Like Sandy was mentioning, a lot of the jobs are now online, and they require for you to know programs. So we're incorporating that to our work experience. And I think that this time, this is for what we have. Do you guys have any questions for us?
No, excellent report. Thank you. Okay, let's go on to the Orange County Conservation Corps.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
Afternoon. So pretty much, I'm going to start reviewing the 2020, 21 program that we just closed. We had individuals improving on their basic skills, 4 in math and 4 in reading. Additionally, 5 attained their forklift certification, which we are focusing on. Some of them are already working in the warehouse industry. However, we do have 2 that are parents that are they just became newly parents, so they're pretty much maternity for the time being, but we'll be searching for employment, and we will be helping them out with that aspect of searching for employment. Additionally, we had someone enroll into post-secondary education of a 4-year university, and thus far he is back and forth during off season. He comes back to Orange County and he gets services with us and gets temporary work experience. Well, not work experience, but seasonal jobs that helps him get income. So when he goes back to school, he has some income for that semester. And additionally, we have some individuals that are working as journeymen, that worked as journeymen, retail, grocery, administrative assistant, and 2 that are currently working on warehouse as a warehouse worker using their forklift certification. When it comes to enrollments into post-secondary and secondary, we had 3 that attended secondary education, 5 that attained their CT training, for instance, in forklift, so we could work on the warehouse industries, and 1 in post-secondary education. Sorry, it's just that we are having difficulties. We have you on our big screen and then the small screen, so we apologize for that.
No worries.
Okay. Any questions on that report, on the first report?
No.
Okay. Pardon me, I'm just going to pull out the second one. Okay, great. I'm just using my. Okay, so for the current year, we were able to reach our enrollments a little later than we expected to be. As we said, it is an employee-driven, like Sandy said, employee-driven workforce. So we are at their mercy now. When we push for the, it's not just a job. We're pushing for a career that, okay, we're going to help you with work experience, get those skills, qualifications that you need. But while you're doing that, let us guide you on how to be successful when being job ready and also getting a certification so you could be prepared for the workforce. And so we had a hard time this year. I thought last year was difficult, but this year was tougher, especially now that this is what we have now, the workforce that we have. We are at their mercy. So, but overall, we were able to reach our goal a little later than the 31st. And as we noticed on the first figure, most of them still tested basic skill deficient with the upgrade of the tape tests. We had the outcome was still very high, basic skill deficiency. Oh, sorry, I'm still in the previous one. I don't know how that happened. Sorry.
You're looking at the 21,
21, 22. Thought I saved it. Okay, great. Sorry. So on the third figure, we discussed with the individuals that are currently being enrolled, we discussed what industries they're interested in. We do have individuals that we have 4 offenders, and 3 of those offenders are interested in a certification that could work directly in a felon-friendly industry, which is warehouse and getting dust. They're interested in the forklift. However, we do have one that it's in secondary and high school. So he's interested in obtaining his diploma and transferring to a 4-year under charter school CCPA, and he's interested in then transferring over to a junior college. We have 4 that are already graduated from high school, and they're looking to post-secondary at our new public works certification program with our partnership with Santiago Canyon College. We have one that already finished the first class, and he did pass from this current year. So now he's going to be taking the second class. And the ones that were enrolled into our program year later towards the end of December 2021 will be starting their first course. And that course will be starting in March. So March 7th. Just got information. Currently, we do have 12 working at our crew program. So crew field projects outside, habitat restoration, conservation. And then we have 2 individuals working at a recycling project. So that is specific in recycling, sorting, and collecting e-waste. And that's what they're currently doing. So out of the 6 individuals, out of the individuals that we have right now, 5 are attending secondary education, whereas 6 will be attending post-secondary education on a CTE certification. And as we notice on the figure 3, 1 is interested in cosmetology, automotive, and the rest of them are interested in public works. That's what I have. Any questions?
It's just very good to see that CTE is really getting off the ground after a number of years. That's great to hear. I think I heard you mention that State Senator Tom Umberger is coming to visit.
Yes, he will be coming tomorrow to our facility.
Okay.
We're getting ready for that event.
Yeah, if you see him, I've known him a long time, and he's my state senator. Please let him know that I said hello.
Will do.
All right.
I'll let everyone know that Bob Tucker.
Yeah, I've known him a long time. So I'm sure he'll be a strong advocate. So I'm glad to hear. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's.
Pardon me, sorry.
No.
I do have a success story, just unfortunately, the gentleman had to leave.
Oh, please share.
Sorry about that.
No,
And I have
okay.
it literally, he wrote it right here. It's right here.
No, please share.
Okay, so we're gonna be talking about Richard Walter. He just enrolled before December 31st. And so I'm just gonna read exactly what he said. I'm not paraphrasing, exactly what he wrote. My name is Richard Walter. I just recently joined the Corps after 2 years of incarceration. The Corps has helped me get back on my feet. The opportunities have been very helpful getting me adjusted to society again. The main thing I'm thankful for is the Corps giving me a chance despite my past. For that, I'm very thankful and look forward to continuing my work. The Corps has also helped me enroll me in school. He is CCPA, our partnership charter school. Right now, my main focus is graduating and finding what career path I'd like to follow. The schooling was very smooth in transitioning me into online learning. I look forward to graduating this year and moving on to college soon. Again, I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
Okay. Awesome. Great to hear that. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a representative from Project Kinship here today?
I don't see him here, but I know he sent me his report, which I can share with you.
Please do. Thanks.
I can find the share button. Where did they go? Oh, sorry. There we go. So that is the current program year. Let me jump to the 2020. So based on his numbers, it turns out that out of the 23 participants enrolled during 2021, 47 were basic skills deficient. their major population is ex-offenders. As you can see, the majority, if not actually all of their youth, their goal to enroll is 20 youth, and of all 20 are actually have been involved with the courts or the justice system. It looks like their placement was 58% in employment and 41% in education. I won't go over everything because I don't want to misquote them or read verbatim, but here is their 2020. It looks like the majority of their credentials were in forklift and high school diplomas. I'm hoping that all the credentials that we've seen will definitely reflect our performance. I know that the way the state is looking at it right now, performance is not up to date with their current enrollments, and they're looking at past enrollments. So I'm hoping that it looks better once it has been finalized. For their 2021, they have met all their enrollments. I know their goal was 20, and I think they're at 21 because they carried over one of their youth. But as you can see again, high school diploma and forklift are their credentials. 35% have acquired a credential. Of their placement, they still fall within getting placed in education and or a job. So we can definitely inquire more details once we chat with them in our next meeting. But that's their report. I do promise to send out all of the providers' reports. I know I shared them with you visually here, but I will email them along with the links that I mentioned earlier so that you guys have them on hand. And if you want to review them and ask questions for our next meeting, you're more than welcome to also. All right. I will stop sharing.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's go on to staff member comments.
Oh, that's me again. Okay, so I did want to speak on our RFP. As you're all aware, our procurement for our current program providers was until June 2023. So our procurement will be ending not this June, but the following June, which means we need to start planning for our release of our RFP and maybe strategizing what we want it to look like, what we still want to keep as far as services, credentials, focus that we've currently had, how we want to be more innovative. I know since our last procurement, a lot has changed. A lot has changed, not only with the workforce mentality that I mentioned earlier. COVID has impacted. I think there's new information with regards to virtual learning. And so I think we need to get really creative on how we present our RFP and what type of providers or what services we want our providers to focus in, that we want our population of youth to take advantage of for career pathways that are going to give them a future longer than a year. So whether it's getting them started on some digital media, data collection, big data. I know there's a lot of cybersecurity information going out there. I myself am not completely savvy in all of those. So I think that's something that we definitely need to do a little bit of research on, but I will like to get a group of individuals at our next meeting to volunteer with regards to the RFP committee. But I am looking to have a study session at our next meeting so that we can brainstorm on what you guys would like to see, what you have learned in your different occupations and or experiences. I know we all come from different places as far as our work areas and our study and our population that we focus on. So I'm excited to hear the different ideas and how we would like to make the next RFP even better. The other thing I wanted us to consider with regards to the RFP is whether we want it to be a 1-year or a 2-year contract. I think something that I mentioned earlier was our carryover of youth. Is 12 months or actually less depending on when they're enrolled, is that sufficient time to be able to provide the services that the youth need to get on that career pathway or succeed in that career pathway to get the outcomes that we need? I think looking at the population that we have now and some of the challenges that they're encountering, especially with COVID, I think it's taking a lot longer for things to come to fruition for a lot of our youth with the different obstacles. So that's something to consider, maybe getting some information on, and I promise to bring back some of that, but I do want to hear everybody else's ideas. Those are just mine, obviously, but I'd love to hear what you guys think and how you guys would like to improve on the RFP. The goal is to do a study session this next April or this April so that we're able to develop the RFP based on their suggestions, your ideas, and hopefully by the fall of 2022, we're able to release the RFP with a due date of late winter. So December, January, so that we're able to get all the contracts done in time, given that we have to run it through all the process here at the city with city council, and they change those deadlines and that process on us. That takes a little bit longer, and we want to make sure we meet those deadlines on time. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Deborah?
I know as a region, the 3 workforce boards are working together and working closely with our community college and labor market office, as well as EDD's labor market. And as a region, you'll see us start talking more and more about 3 major sectors: healthcare and all that goes into healthcare, from entry level to your RNs, anesthesiologists, et cetera. Advanced manufacturing is still a component here, but that includes the biomed manufacturing and the high-tech manufacturing that's here in Orange County. And then the third is looking at this AI cybersecurity type field and career. And these 3 areas, I think, has great potential for a young person to get them into any of those industries and show them how they can move up as they age and get different skills and turn that into a career if that is their passion. But even within that industry, there's a lot of jobs. If you love numbers and you want to be an accountant, you can be an accountant in any of those industries. But those are areas that we're focusing on as a region. And Sandy, maybe we should try and get EDD to come and talk about some labor market information to the Youth Council, as well as maybe the community college, since they do work with young people more so than EDD. EDD works with everybody, and see what information they have and the projected fields of growth in Orange County in the next 5 years, and then see if we can start to align those. And I was also going to ask EDD, what's the percentage of jobs that are virtual, or saying that they have virtual options on their CalJobs jobs postings? See if they even track that.
Okay. I can definitely work with EDD to see if we can have somebody come in maybe at the first part of the meeting and give a presentation on the labor market and what those numbers and what that might look like based on our demographics here. I know they're able to.
And then perhaps Jessie Crete from Rancho Santiago College. She's been doing some analysis as well.
Okay.
But thinking back 5 years ago, the world has completely changed from when the Youth Council was developing its RFP. And, the last, took a year to get the RFP out and done, and then 4 years has almost elapsed. Things do move fast, when you look back.
And I think one of the key, sorry, Deborah, go ahead.
I'm done.
I think one of the key things that they did mention, although they do say it's an employee-driven economy workforce, as a youth provider and a youth service provider, I think they're seeing how we need to adjust and maybe pivot the way we relay the information to the youth, as far as, although yes, you might have the upper hand because now they want either something that they can work from home from, or they want the flexibility. they also have to have the goods to be worth doing that. So you can say, I want this, I want this, I want that. However, you also have to be able to make sure that they have the qualifications that outbeat everybody else that wants the same thing. So it's not enough just to say, you need me, but show them why they need you. What makes you so special from everybody else that wants to work from home with the flexibility to be entrepreneur and so forth. So we also, the way we speak to our youth, as far as, absolutely, you have a right to say that you want to set your schedule, or maybe you want this type of job or you want to get paid this. However, what are you offering that position, right? Are you qualified for that position? Just saying it isn't enough. So that was interesting too. So I will share that information with you guys. But that's with regards to my staff report as far as the RFP. It's time to relook at how we want to provide services. Maybe we still want to do a lot of things the same. Maybe we want to do a lot of things different. And it's really up to you guys as our council and members to determine how you guys want to do that.
Do you need volunteers at this point, or is it too early?
Well, at the next meeting, we'll definitely take volunteers. I will help so we can kind of condense once we get everybody's viewpoints and stuff. Then I'll need my working group to help me finalize those changes and how they want that to look.
I know that you mentioned earlier the push at the conference for looking at mental health, and also with healthcare workers. I know school districts are in dire need of looking for mental health interns and actual employees in the school district. So there may be an opportunity with school districts and training in mental health.
Dr. Anna?
Yeah, I wanted to mention a couple of things. First, go back to your comments, Sandy, about outcomes. And I agree with you, because the world has changed these last couple of years with this pandemic. It is more difficult to get the outcomes that we, particularly our agency, had in the past because of the remote learning. It's more difficult, particularly if the youth has a disability. And you know that working with youth with disabilities, and Jackie knows, it's easier when you're face to face with them, helping them hands-on. But when you are doing remote learning, it's definitely more challenging when you have a cognitive, delay, or any type of disability that will make things, more complicated when in the process of learning. So that's something that we needed to think about with the different populations that we serve in general. Now, hopefully the pandemic is getting better, it's little by little going away. And for example, we are seeing that now the youth is starting to come in person more without us having to beg them to come, or them being afraid, which was a big concern for us in the families. But I think in general, everyone is experiencing this, that, should we do this in person or still remote? So that's something that we don't know. It's so unpredictable. I mean, this COVID is so unpredictable. It seems like things are getting better, but hopefully will continue to get better. But we have to be prepared. So that's one of the things I wanted to mention when it comes to outcomes. The other thing is what Bob mentioned about mental health. I completely agree. Mental health is so important right now, and I think that. For example, our organization has started some really important mental health programs for everyone, for parents, for youth, for children, for, extended family and friends. But it is important during this time that we do focus our emphasis on wellness, and mental health is a big, big deal during these days, for sure. Yes.
Thank you for that, Dr. Anna.
Yeah, I have a quick question for staff. I had mentioned the idea, and I'm not sure it's legal or not, of asking two Santa Ana City Council people to come and visit, primarily because they're very young, and maybe as an example to youth of how you can still be very young and be elected to office. Ty Viet Fan and Jesse Lopez, possibly. And that would be an idea for maybe an in-person meeting if we're able to on the 14th. But are we able to do that?
They can attend any meeting because you're one of the subgroups of their boards, being part of the Workforce Development Board. But I'm wondering if are you wanting to have like a dialogue as a youth service council with the council members, or have them talk directly with our sub providers and the students that are going through our providers?
I was thinking, and whatever's appropriate, is maybe they can share their story as how they are young people that were successful, and also now, city of Santa Ana. So, but let me know if there's some concerns or guidelines that should be looked at, or if we should even do it at all. But just an idea.
Yeah, let's continue that discussion and then see what would be the most appropriate way to do that. They do.
Okay.
All our council members have interesting backgrounds, and they are a few of our younger ones who had different types of backgrounds and different career pathways that are equally exciting. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Any other questions, concerns for staff? Okay, let's go in. Oh yeah.
Could I have Sandy talk about the summer youth program that she's launching, the cohort that's going to start in a couple weeks, and
Yes,
then the
thank
summer
you.
one that staff's preparing for?
Yes, thank you. I know I had it on my list, but I didn't highlight it. I did want to give you guys an update on the Stay Employment Program. It is still going. We have funding through June 2022, and hopefully for the following year, but that hasn't been finalized. So we're crossing out the year. However, currently we do have a cohort of 50 that we are enrolling to provide 140 hours of paid work experience. The eligibility, I might have mentioned in our last meeting, has changed slightly. We are now enrolling Santa Ana youth that have right to work documents. That's the only eligibility criteria. They have to be 16 to 21 years of age in order to be eligible for the program, which has made it extremely easy to enroll them. And I know for our WIOA participants, that's unheard of, right, for WIOA, but that's the beauty behind having this city funding to be able to provide these services to the youth and this paid work experience. The youth are getting paid $15 an hour, 140 hours, and provided the work readiness. We had an overwhelming amount of interest. I want to say we had 130 to 160 applicants for the 50 slots. We're in the process of finalizing the last 20, making sure they're bringing their documents so that we get them oriented and started with their work readiness workshop. Our goal is to wrap up this cohort by the middle of April so that we're able to start our new cohort, which will be double the size at 100 youth for the summer, and will last anywhere from 6 to 7 weeks. And that will wrap up by June so that we're able, God willing, we get funding to start our new cohort of youth. So the goal with the youth employment program is to serve over 200 youth in 1 year. I want to say our goal was 225 to 230 in the whole year with different cohorts. So this summer, it was a little bit of a trial and error because it was a new way of doing business with COVID online and making sure we had to pivot as far as how we provide workshops. So we did have a couple hiccups. We didn't meet our full goal enrollment, but we were able to accomplish the services that we planned to and our goal was. And moving forward, now that things are starting to get back to normal, we've had a huge interest, and also the eligibility being a lot more simplified has made it that much easier. So please let any of your youth that are not eligible for the WIOA program, send them our way, and have them give the work center a call for our summer cohort of 100 youth to be placed. Yes, Dr. Anna.
I have a quick question, Sandy. So let's say that we have a couple of in-school students that they qualify for WIOA, but they're just waiting because we already have, the numbers for in-school. So let's say that they apply and they get into this, cohort or, group for next year. Will they still qualify? Can they still apply for WIOA, or they would not be able after they're done?
They're totally different funding. Our funding is not federally funded. It is locally funded by the city. And so they don't conflict with the federal funding that we get through WIOA. I am giving, for this particular cohort, I'm giving priority to those that are not in a current program obtaining work experience. However, if they are in our program and they're done, with all of our youth, we always make sure to give them an orientation on all our WIOA youth programs, and of course our adult programs, our adult programs, depending on their interest and like. And so they are informed of all three of our youth providers, the services and what you guys provide. So our goal is really to make sure they go to you guys after
Okay.
with us, and or the other way around. If they're done but they still need maybe some more work experience, they're more than welcome to come into our program and further their work experience, job shadowing, depending on what work sites we have that may be of interest to them. It is a first come, first served basis. As you can see, there's been a huge interest. So
Great. Thank you.
available. Any other questions? Yes.
The last thing I wanted to add, and then I'm done, is March 15th, Congressman Correa's office is putting on a series of webinars for the community, and March 15th has been identified workforce programs and services. So the 3 workforce boards have been approached, and Anaheim and Santa Ana are going to participate in this webinar on behalf of the county. And we will be promoting all the services that we offer to the community, from youth to adults and beyond, on workforce programs. So it's at 9 o'clock from 9 to 10 a.m. and we'll get the Zoom information in the coming weeks.
Is there an update on that email I sent about Youth Jobs Corps money coming in to Santa Ana, possibly?
Yes, the city of Santa Ana a few months ago was notified that they're eligible to apply to an organization in the state, or an agency that I wasn't familiar with, but it's called California Volunteers. And they have basically allocated $4.5 million for youth program monies to serve Santa Ana youth age 16 to 30. So 18 or 30 is now the new 18. So youth goes all the way up to age 30. However, they have to work in very specific industries, and it's basically, in a way, like a work experience component for youth, and they must be embedded in public sector jobs only. So in a way, it's kind of like the old CETA program from the 70s and early 80s, and working in 3 industries. So it was food insecurity, climate change, and Sandy was the third one, COVID?
COVID.
Impacted by COVID. So primarily we're looking to place youth in like work sites in those arenas, in public works, water. We're going to see if we can try and do some training for water agency, power agencies that are all government oriented. Because I called the state and I asked them, could we train them and then place them, at places, because we're having electric cars, right, more and more, and we need more public spaces so that we could gas up our hybrids or electric vehicles on the road. But that's not done by a city. That's not done by a county. That's done by a third-party contractor. And I was told, no, we can't work with them. They can't work at, a contractor that installs the Tesla devices. It has to be a city or a county government. Then I asked, what if we did training so they can become pole climbers to work for Edison or the gas company? Because we're hearing that their workforce is aging and they need younger people to learn that skill. And it's a great career pathway. And they said, no, Edison and the gas company are not government entities. They're private companies. So it'll be some creativity, and we're going to look at it closer, but we're hearing a contract should be coming in the next couple weeks to the city of Santa Ana. And we targeted to serve 290 youth through June of 2024. And another criteria is 50% of the money must be spent on wages. 40% can be spent on what's called subcontracts with nonprofits and wraparound services / case management. And then 10% is for administrative costs. So it is very different. It's coming from an agency that's not done workforce programs before like this. So we'll see.
Oh, lots of changes.
But it isn't WIOA related. However, they have these restrictions.
Sorry, Deborah, I have a quick question about COVID. Can you elaborate more on COVID? Because we're working with a big network that does a lot of outreach and education with COVID, going to different clinics and doing a lot of outreach. So tell me more about COVID. Like what type of positions?
It was what was impacted, what your city council would like the money spent, and what their definition was of impacted by COVID. So that hasn't been fully defined by council.
Okay.
So I don't have a definitive answer yet.
Okay. So it could be working, doing outreach, education, helping at the clinics and things like that.
Right.
Okay. That's good.
It's still
That's
very broad.
good.
And then Sandy has perused some of the links that they had in their RFP. And it does have smackings of income eligibility, very similar to CDBG criteria. So it's still a little bit of restrictive in their income eligibility, but not as restrictive as WIOA requirements. Or WIOA income levels very low in order to be eligible. And CDBG is a little bit is higher.
Yes, it's very close to CDBG eligibility requirements and allows that flexibility, not as strict and restrictive as WIOA, but it was nice to be able to see that there was a little bit more flexibility there.
And they do want us to serve at least 70% of the youth served to be low income and foster youth, low income and formerly incarcerated. So it does have individual or low income and had a hard time finding a job.
So 75% should be kind of the hardest to serve within their criteria.
Okay, thank you for the great information, staff. This is the time for members of the Youth Council to share information. Who would like to share?
Bob, before we jump into George, I see Salvador just joined our group. Bianca, would it be okay for him to do his report out, or?
Who is he?
Salvador from PK?
I know. Oh, Kinship. Because we already closed that report, but
if he if he wants to share something.
If he has any additional information, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Salvador, if you'd like to share at this point, please do.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sal here with Project Kinship. I want to share that, we continue to, besides what was on the report, we continue to offer and work experience at Project Kinship. During the month of January, it was mostly done through Zoom, just due to the situation in our office. We were limited to just a certain amount of staff. Youth were not allowed to come in just due to the high number of cases that came out of the program. But this week we have reopened, so everybody has transition back into the office and, do shadowing and front desk workforce. And we're even talking about having our youth shadow our staff that work at the, the different schools in Santa Ana, get some experience in those areas. So we're continuing to do that. Right now we have six youth participating. Out of the 4 in-school youth for the new program year, 3, one has completed the work experience. One will be completing it by the end of the current pay period, which ends on the 15th of February. And then that would just leave us with just one more. And so at this point, we're just focused on just, getting our out of school youth to do it. And obviously the goal is for them to get a job. And right now we have, as far as placements, just to kind of give a little bit more info about the jobs, we have about 10 participants that are working either part-time or full-time. That's about 58%, and that includes the carryovers. We carried over 3 participants from the previous program year. And we have 7 participants that are currently enrolled in either secondary education or post-secondary education or high school. So just working on that. 2 of our in-school youths have graduated and finished high school. They're just working right now, and we're gonna look at options as far as college and all that good stuff. Credentials wise, we have
Did you want me to share the screen?
actually no, I have yes, please. Did you receive the report, Sandy?
Oh, sorry, it was disabled. I did.
Okay. All right.
shared-
Sorry about that. You know what? The reports have the same format. I got to make a correction. I was looking at the one from the previous program. So it's actually so as far as the new program, it's actually 8 participants that are working either part-time or full-time, and then 7 are currently enrolled in college or high school. And then as far as forklift or certifications, 4 have obtained forklift, and that includes the carryovers. And then out of our 4 in-school youth, currently 2 have graduated high school.
Thank you. I just want to comment that your idea
Any
of
questions?
your idea of having folks shadow school employees is an amazing idea. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so we have a program. We have this partnership with the school district, and so we're just on my end. It would just be just figuring out who would be okay with that, because from my understanding, we have 1 PK staff, 1 Project Kinship staff per school. I don't know the exact number of schools where we provide services, but we provide services to at-risk youth in those schools, and that's where we get some of our referrals. Like most of our in-school youth that are in the WIOA program, they come from the schools. Valley School, Reach Academy, that's one where there's a lot of at-risk youth there. And so just kind of getting some of our youth that just would be mature of working with youth that would require behavioral intervention, maybe some crisis planning, safety planning, and so just kind of putting them in the right schools and taking it into consideration too, the area, right? So we're talking about youth that are at risk of gangs or gang involved, just making sure we we place them in a school where they would feel safe and comfortable working there. So that's the one thing that we will be adding. I know I turned in the form to Sandy where it states what we offer as far as work experience, and so that's something that we're currently working on that will be added. Just having them shadow staff at the schools and working with the school district staff and that kind of thing.
Thanks, Sal. I did share your report with everyone, and I promised I would send everybody's report to the council members, the youth council members, so that they have it on hand also. So I'll make sure to forward that to all of them.
Yeah, I sent you. I don't know. I'm sure you wanted one for each. So I did one. I was gonna just do the.
You sent me both. You sent me
Yeah.
2021 and 21-22 program year.
Okay, so that was correct, right?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, then we're good. All right.
Thank you for your report. Appreciate it. Okay, other committee members who would like to share at this time?
George. Go ahead.
Bob, does that include me?
Absolutely.
Yes, San Antonio Youth Council committee members. All right. So real quick, I was talking to this young lady, got an Uber, and she was telling me how she started at the bottom in this business and moved up to the manager position, and something clicked in her head where she kept doing this repetitive over and over. So she felt like a slave. So she quit her job, moved out elsewhere, and she's doing Lyft for the past 3.5, 4 months now. Whole point of her for doing that was that she needs flexibility. She needs to be in control. So my other point is that, you know, with this, if we can say fear of COVID, you know, employers need people to work to do the job, but they can't really afford to pay much because of whatever situation COVID has cost them. Shipping containers, for example, used to be $2,000. Now they are $10,000 each. So for the Irvine Unified School District, you know, we start at $20 an hour substitute, flexible hours. And the ratio of keeping people is very, very low because they want that flexibility. If I don't have to go to work, why am I going to go to work? So with that said, it's very tough. It's very tough, but you know, we have to go back to the basics. You know, we are limited in resources, but we're a stepping stone for them. And when they come to us, we grab their attention with, hey, you're here, but get this done. Take everything you need, certifications, and then leave. You know, we do have education. Some people want a career. Some people just want money. So we do have the employment. Some people don't know. So then we also have the military as an option. You know, so it is difficult, but we go back to the basics and just remind them of all the resources we have, even though we are limited. But that limit becomes a web where they can come back to you. So transportation for me is key, you know, because I mean, we need to go somewhere. We need to go to work. We need to go to school. We need to go to the doctors, anywhere. Transportation is key. I know transportation is good right now because of COVID. You know, everybody's ordering online and everything. But I mean, are we gonna go with the growth of the economy, or are we gonna slow down, or what are we gonna do? So I would suggest just go back to the basics and let them be in control, but we are overseeing them. So, I mean, I know we can't pay them more. I know our hours are set, but if we can make it in a different way where we have them in the control seat, then we switch it off where they have a control of it, but we still manage it. So with that said, it is a tough business, but I mean, it's fear. It's fear because of stories they've heard from other people, or maybe they don't want to take the vaccine, or maybe they're just not ready socially, you know. But that's when we come in and we try to give them that comfort that, hey, you know, it's everybody. It's not just you. And the economy is killing us right now. So everything's going up and it's going to keep going up. So, I mean, they might do it out of necessity, but might not be into it because of the money process. So it's hard, but I mean, the committee members the reports and everyone else. We've been here before, and we can do this. And we just got to go back to the basics.
Thank you
That's
for
all I
that.
got.
Thanate you for the information. That's really appreciate
Spot
your
on.
passion and your caring. Is there anybody else who would like to share at this time? Okay. I just have one thing I just wanted to share briefly. We've seen a lot of legislation or proposed legislation coming from Congress about trying to help and make things better. And one thing that came up was an idea that Congress had proposed, has not passed, is in how to prevent recidivism going back to jail. And this idea was to provide people in jail a month before they're released Medicaid and 6 months after Medicaid in order to help provide mental health resources and medical resources which is a big factor in why some folks end up back in the system. So I'm hoping, and I'm pushing for my local congressperson to help make that happen, because, to help prevent recidivism, we need all the help we can get. And if providing some basic foundational Medicaid medical services and mental health, I think would help tremendously. We see, 3.2 billion. Well, there's this piece that could really help people from going back into jail. So hopefully that passes. Yes, Sandy.
That would be helpful. And I think if we could circle back, that's one of PCAN's primary focus in working with their adults, is they have group therapies so they can talk through what's going on. And I'm not doing it justice with my speaking on this now, but I know that is woven into one of their working with former inmates, is that mental health component and trying to address it and get the help that they need or support they might need.
Yeah. So lots of changes, lots of new ideas. I'm looking forward to our study session on April 14th, hopefully in person. This is the last chance for anybody who wishes to comment or say anything before we close out the meeting.
I'm sorry, can I say one more thing?
Of course.
No, that's it. You're done.
Dennis Varnum is here. He's one of our youth council members, and he emailed Sandy and Bob and I during the meeting. We lost Alberto. He was a member of the youth council. We lost him for good things. He graduated from Cal State Fullerton, and he is looking for full-time work. But in that capacity with EDD, he wasn't able to continue on as a youth YEOP mentor. So Dennis wanted to let everyone know that he will be forwarding a resume and a candidate in the coming weeks. And just publicly, I wanted to say thank you to Alberto and all the work that he did, both here at the work center and with the YEOP participants, and bringing his thoughts and ideas and sharing them on the youth council meetings when he did attend them with us.
And if Dennis is online and wishes to share something, please do.
We don't have a chat function. So Bianca, does the city disable chat when we use the city Zoom?
Yes, and I'm the only one that probably is able to see it. But I believe Dennis was not able to speak, but he was going to be joining us. That's why he's not present.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else from anybody before we adjourn and meet on the 14th, hopefully in person? Anything else?
Thank you all for coming
Yeah.
and for joining us and for your thoughts and sharing. And I definitely look forward to meeting with all of you. And hopefully, yes, nothing changes and we can maybe meet in person. I know that was the goal this meeting. Unfortunately, with the new Omicron, I think it is, it kind of threw everything in a haywire spin. And so we're back here again. And I know a few of you have experienced quite a few outbreaks or at your own facility that you gotten through and worked through. And so I give you credit because I know our youth and the services are still needed. And so we still have to continue to work even through it all. So I appreciate all your hard work and everything that you guys are doing and continue to do.
Thank you all for everything you do. You're making a big difference in our community, and thank you so much. You have something else, Jorge?
Yeah, it just takes a spark to start an engine. So
Absolutely. And
We can make it.
y'all bring great spark. You really do.
We all do.
Yes.
Bob.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on the 14th. Thanks. Take care.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you, Bianca.
Bye.